And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
This is my fall 2016 suggestions, vintage version. All right, giving a little twist to it. All vintage fragrances. The criteria for my list is it's got to be at least 15 years or older. All right, so I want to do a little bit different. I'm going to do, modern designer fragrances, but I wanted to do a vintage list too because, I want to expose, as many people to some great vintage designer fragrances. And I've got a nice amount of my collection. So I just want to, do something a little different, a little my, own flavor, my own take. So here you go. First up, to me, one of the founding fathers of the aquatic fragrances is none other than Kenzo for Homme. All right, just so you know, every fragrance that I'm showing you, with the exception of one fragrance, is the original formulation. This dropped in '91. It is it's the originator, in my opinion, for that whole genre. Somebody else might say I'm wrong, but that's what I think. It's the first one I got up on. This is not a summertime fragrance. It's not your typical, unfortunately generic today, aquatic fragrance. This has got depth. It is salty notes, oceanic notes. It's green, all right? It's musky. It's got it all. I think if this was released today, it would definitely be a niche fragrance. So if you can, get your nose on it. Just so you know, this is the original bottle, all right? It's got a lot of fine detail on it. And this is the original box. I just happen to have that. This is the original box. Okay. You may also find it in a all blue box. That's also one of the early versions of it too. So if you are inclined, man, check this one out. It's a winner. Okay. Another fragrance that I recently got up on, but I was already up on the designer, was Laura Bugiatti, Romo Uomo. All right. Now, I used to wear her glasses back in the day, back in the golden age of hip hop. Laura Bugiatti frames were like all the rage. I used to rock those. And one of my favorite video reviewers, a guy named Max, he dropped this one, and I was like, okay, I remember Laura Bugiatti. Let me go find this fragrance. Went to pick it up. Really enjoy it. This is definitely signature scent worthy. It's a really nice, warm, ambery, sandalwood, kind of orange vibe to it. Nice fragrance. You could definitely rock this one in the fall, and I think it will work. I think it's very pleasant. I think it will garner a decent amount of compliments. I think it would work good in the office, good in the work environment, good for casual settings. I think it's a really nice fragrance. So if you want to do some research on this one, I think it might be worth your time. Romo Uomo or Bugiatti. One of my favorites of all time is another fragrance that I've been wearing since '95, and I think it actually dropped in '89. This is Jill Sander, Feeling Man. Really, really nice, warm, ambery, sandalwood, berry note on top. Some other things going on. There are a lot of notes listed, but those are like the primary players in my opinion. Really nice fragrance, nice depth. I can't say enough about it. It's still modern, still very modern. This will garner you a lot of compliments. Again, this is one of my favorite designer fragrances of all time. So I'm sharing it with you guys. I've talked about it before. Jill Sander, Feeling Man. Perfect for the fall. Okay. Alrighty. This one is one that I actually wanted to pick up back in the day, back when I was in college, early 90s. And it seemed like whenever I went to go pick it up, it would be something else I would pick up. I remember one time I'm going to pick it up, I picked up Tuscany instead. There was another time I went to go pick this up. I want to say I got Chanel Eagle East instead. This is Malto, Smalto, all right, by Francesco Smalto. You can actually still get samples of this, but it's not in production. I got samples from recently on fragrancenet.com just to remind myself of what it smelled like. And I got the sample and was like, oh yeah, I remember. It's kind of got a rough opening. So like the first 5-10 minutes is kind of, harsh smelling. Once you get past that though, it's this really nice, smooth, like sandalwood, lavender type fragrance. And it's got a little bit of sweetness in it too. So you can still find 1.7s for about 45 to 50, and I've seen a 3.4 online about 80 to 90 bucks. Get the sample though, check it out, see if you dig it. You can get it again for like $4.99, $5.99 online. It's a little small mini sample, but it's a nice one, a nice throwback fragrance, and I'm happy to have it in the collection finally. Smalto, Francesco Smalto. All right. This is a designer from back in the day. I see fragrances from this designer on people's lists a lot, especially when it comes to budget lists. But the thing is, this is the original fragrance from that designer. Never seen anybody talk about it, and it's one of my favorite old school fragrances. All right, the designer is Ellis, and this is Ellis for Men, the original, 1986. Okay, this is a smoky incense, leather type fragrance. This is a masculine fragrance for sure. It's not that new school metrosexual type, vibe at all. This is straight masculine. But when it gets to the dry down, man, it's magic. This is a really, really nice fragrance. This is the original formulation. When this came out, it came out in 2 bottle styles, the spray, and it also came out in the splash. And the splash is what I used to have back in the day. It was almost like a kidney shaped type bottle with a curve across the top twisted off, splash. Really, really nice fragrance. Really like smoky, vibe to it. Woody base. It's a nice fragrance. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I'm happy to have it back in my collection. I was able to find a vintage large bottle, and I snatched it up. I got it for under 100, but if you find a vintage bottle, they're going to be close to 100 bucks. But this is a really, really nice fragrance. I don't know how you can sample it, unfortunately, but I like this one a lot. So if you're into that vibe, man, try to check this one out. Ellis for Men Cologne. All right, 2 fragrances. All right, and just a note, one of these is not the original formulation. The other one is. All right, so the first one is not, and that is Habit Rouge. All right, this is by Guerlain. This is what I believe is the originator of this style. This is kind of like that soft, powdery, ambery. It's got like a little slight rose note, slight leather, type vibe. And it came out in 65. All right, this is the Eau de Parfum, and I like to get the vintage formulation to see if there's much difference between this one and that one. All right, but then you have, which I believe in my personal opinion was influenced by this, that came out in like 1979, and this is Paul Sebastian, PS, very fine cologne. All right, this to me was a really smooth, sexy type fragrance, back in the late 80s. In my personal opinion, I wore this one in college. I really enjoyed it, and it was so different than everything else that was out. It was like this like soft, smooth fragrance compared to everything else that was kind of like boom, really strong. And just so you know, this is a splash. Fragrances back in the day, they came in splash or spray. You can choose. A splash was usually like $10 cheaper, but I just scored this vintage bottle, and just so you know, this is a pre-barcode bottle. All right, it smells perfect, and it's got a lot of kick. I was so surprised. It's way stronger than most fragrances, you know, that are out today that we consider to be powerhouses. It's strong like that, dude, big time. And the funny thing is, back in the day, I thought this fragrance was so soft. You know, I would wear certain fragrances, and I would like put this on and be like, man, everybody around you's fragrance is like kicking, and you feel like your fragrance is not doing anything, but it was doing it. And I know it was doing it because I put this on, man, and I was like, wow, I can only put like so many dabs and that's it, because it'll be killing. But this is a really nice one, and don't sleep on it, because I think people will look at PS and you'll see it in Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, maybe even a grocery store, and think that this is generic juice, and it's not generic juice at all. Now the bottle is very simple and plain, but the juice is not. So, you know, check this one out, man, if you can. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. Paul Sebastian for Men Cologne, the originator. Habit Rouge, Eau de Parfum by Guerlain. All right, where we at? Oh, okay. Here's another one. This one is Minotaure. All right. This is Palomo Picasso. This is a really, really nice fragrance. I got up on this one in like 96. I was working retail, and this is a really nice fragrance. I used to wear this a lot when I used to go out with my girlfriend at the time, that's now my wife. This was a nice like vanilla, amber, a little bit of fruity notes, leather, you know, nice fragrance. It's got a different vibe to it. It was unique then. I still feel like it's unique today. There's nothing that's out that's really like Minotaure, and you can still cop the original formulation. I think this is Cosmere, is the parent company. As I always state in the vintage videos, man, it's always important to find out who was the original parent company or distributor when the fragrance first came out, because that way you can kind of try to track down bottles that have got that same info on it to know that you're getting, you know, one of the better formulations of the fragrance or the original formulation. You know, a lot of times when parent companies change or distributors change, man, juices change, and it may not ever be the same. So, you know, I always want to give you the juice that I can stand behind and tell you and feel confident that you're going to get the fragrance in its original form, all its glory, you know, not watered down, not changed. You know what I'm saying? So this is one to check out if you can. Minotaure, Palomo Picasso. All right, I got 4 more. I try to breeze through them as quickly as possible. 2 really nice work fragrances. This is Fred Heyman Hollywood. Talked about this one before. This has got quite a few notes, but it's a smooth, creamy type fragrance, lavender, other notes, and believe it or not, it's got like a popcorn vibe, buttered popcorn, believe it or not. I read something recently from the noses that made this, that they were really surprised that this fragrance didn't blow up as a designer release, because they thought they had all the stuff necessary to do well. You can actually still find the original juice online. It's kind of hard. The thing is, there's one that's out now, and it's like the company's been sold to a different parent company now. I bought it. It's generic. You want to make sure that it's Parlux. Parlux is the parent company, and it's going to say Hollywood, Fred Heyman Hollywood 1998 on the bottom, along with Parlux. Okay, great juice. I've got like 2 more bottles of this. You know, I can't recommend that one enough. Another great one, Romeo Gigli by Romeo Gigli. Okay, if you like Antidote by Victor and Rolf, you'll like this. All right, this one's a little rougher than that one, but all of the same vibe, nuances for the most part. I would just say that again, Victor and Rolf Antidote is a little smoother. but this is kind of like overall the same vibe. The same vibe. It'll work at work, casual settings, the whole 9 yards. I think it dropped in like 95. So if you want to check this one out, check it out. Actually pretty cool bottle. Pops open like this. Top comes off. That's what it looks like. All right. Nice bottle. Romeo Gigli. Okay. Last two. All right. Pretty nice tobacco fragrance. Tobacco. All right. It's called Cigar Aficionado. All right. By Cigar Aficionado. I believe the parent company was Paul Fine, which is a part of Paul Sebastian. All right. And I think when you look at the bottle on the bottom, the sticker's supposed to say like it's made in New Jersey, and I forgot what the other company is. My bottle doesn't have the sticker anymore on the bottom, but you know, great fragrance. I think you should check it out. All right, you can get small bottles still. You can find the aftershave, and I've even seen samples online, so you can get your nose on it if you want to. Cigar Aficionado, nice tobacco fragrance. Lastly, one of my favorite citrus old school fragrances. It's not clean, fresh citrus. It's a dirty citrus. It's Joseph Abboud by Joseph Abboud. All right. This is like early 90s when it dropped. I didn't get this until like 96, 95, 96. This is, again, it's citrus, it's dirty, it's musky, it's nice. Check this one out if you can. Joseph Abboud by Joseph Abboud. Hey guys, those are my 2016 fall suggestions vintage. I hope you liked it. You know, I went all out. Old school camera, old school microphone, just to kind of stay in the spirit of it. You know, like, subscribe, share. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your support straight up. Thanks for checking out the video. Rob, DJ Bill, peace out.